Welcome to the She is a Nourish Mom podcast, where we talk about all things self-care, motherhood, and faith for the Christian mom who wants to transition from worn out to winning as the mom and woman God called her to be. I'm your host, Dr. LaToya Wiggins, but please just call me LaToya. I just want to be your mommy friend and sister in Christ as I teach you how to no longer feel depleted, but how to develop healthy habits to be nourished, renewed, and rejuvenated with biblical principles that bring peace instead of self-pity. Now let's get nourished together. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the She is a Nourish Mom podcast. So, ladies, I have a very special guest today, Miss Ebony Pollard. Hey, girl.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing good. I can't complain.
Good. Welcome to the show. I'm so happy to have you here and pour into our moms. So let's get started and go ahead and introduce yourself.
Awesome. Well, ladies, I am Ebony Pollard. I am an author. I'm a speaker. I'm a mompreneur. I am the creator of Resilience Every Day with Ebony Pollard, which is a brand geared towards helping women take control of their overall well-being. That includes mentally, emotionally, and spiritually in a constructive and holistic way. And we do that based on biblical principles as well. So that is me in a nutshell.
Yes. And how many little ones do you have?
I have two, a 10-year-old and a 5-year-old. And I like to say that I have a full set because I have a boy and a girl. So I'm a boy mom and a girl mom, and it is lit.
It's lit.
To, say it positively, to put it mildly.
Right.
It's lit.
Very lit. I know how that is.
Yes, I mean, depending on the day, that could be positive or negative.
Look, I know, right? Look, your shirt says "Be real."
Look, be real, baby. It's lit over here. Any given day, it could be lit. It could be lit. It's lit.
Right.
Either way.
So, Ebony, on the She is a Nourish Mom podcast, we talk about all things self-care, motherhood, and faith. It's about to get lit up in here.
Look at that. Look.
Look, I just said we talk about all things motherhood.
Yes, we're moms.
Right, and self-care. Mm-hmm. So, speaking of self-care, what does self-care mean to you?
So, self-care to me, really, it means taking care of myself so that I can be all the things that I'm supposed to be. Not just so that I can be all the things, but also, just take care of myself for me, to enjoy life and enjoy it more abundantly. Jesus came that we would have life more abundantly. And I just don't believe that us being tired and worn out all the time is what he meant. And that was his intent. So self-care is, taking care of myself and positioning myself to be all that I'm called to be in this world. So does that make sense?
Yes, and I agree.
Yeah.
So, Resilience Every Day with Ebony. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit more about resilience. What does that mean to you, and how does that impact your ability to self-care?
Yeah, so the story behind resilience is years ago, I asked the Lord to give me a word to live by. Like that was, my word. And the word that came to me was resilience or resilient, that I am resilient, which I am. What I did not realize at the time, though, is that, your mess is your message, but it's going to challenge you first. And so, yes, resilience is my word, but I had a lot of opportunities to practice resilience. Mm-hmm. And I was like, ooh, can I get a different word? Because, I'm feeling like I'm always, okay, I'm running, I'm, jumping through this hoop, I'm dodging this, but I had to come to a place where I realized that resilience is not necessarily, it is bouncing back, but it's also how you it's as to how you handle the things that life throws your way. I like to call it like there's proactive resilience and reactive resilience. And proactive resilience is living in such a way that you are life is gonna throw things at you, but you're living your life in such a way that when life throws certain adversities and things at you, you don't just immediately fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like what proactive resilience is, like, just being prepared for life in an emotionally healthy way.
Mm-hmm.
Reactive resilience is, something happens and you have to react, you have to bounce back. I prefer to live in a proactively resilient way.
Yeah.
But sometimes you have to react. So that is ultimately where it came from, is me asking God for a word to live by, and also, a word to minister to other women through. And I definitely can speak on resilience. Yeah.
Yes, I remember. I don't remember who said it,
Mm-hmm.
but or even where I saw it. I don't know if I was at a conference, if it was on social media, but I remember somebody said, "Black women, we're not superwoman." That's what a lot of people look at us as. We're superwoman,
Mm-hmm.
and many of us use that term. But they said
Mm-hmm.
we're not super. We don't need to be super anymore. What we are we are resilient.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that word. When I heard it, I said, that makes so much more sense to me.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have to be super, but we are resilient. We know how to
Absolutely.
bounce back, kind of like you said, like with the reactive piece. Even being proactively, we know different things we face in life,
Mm-hmm.
as women, as Black women, as women of faith, as
Mm-hmm.
moms, and all these different roles that we have. We know
Right.
how to be proactive.
Yes.
And we know how to be reactive. We are
Mm-hmm.
definitely resilient. I love that better than being superwoman. Because
Yeah.
superwoman sounds like you just have it all together. You never go through anything bad. Any battle that comes
Mm-hmm.
your way, you're going to automatically win. And no, sometimes we have to.
Right. It's not,
Yeah.
it doesn't, that's not reality. And I mean, and not only that, I feel like, to put on that superwoman cape and say that we can do it all, that puts the burden on us.
Mm-hmm.
When God, again, I think I've said this to you before, God says to cast, your cares upon him because he cares for
Yeah.
us. So why do I need to put on a cape?
Right.
If he cares for me, why do I need to put on a cape? I just need to, do what I'm supposed to be doing, and, allow his sufficient grace to carry me through. So it's like, to call ourselves super women and, take on that role that we have definitely had, for years, almost involuntarily, to be quite
Right.
honest.
Mm-hmm.
It puts the burden on us, and that was never God's intent for us at all.
Yes, I totally agree. So I know you said you had a lot of experience with being resilient.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit more about that. What are some ways you've had to be resilient, whether it
Mm-hmm.
was proactively and reactively? How has it impacted your ability to nourish
Mm-hmm.
yourself mentally, physically,
Mm-hmm.
emotionally, and spiritually, and thrive in motherhood and in different areas of your life? All those different roles, those different areas that you feel God is calling you to. How has resilience helped you with that?
It just the just understanding what resilience means, and that, I mean, ultimately means that you're able to bounce back and everything like that. And knowing that that's what God has called me. He said that I'm resilient. Because I, like I said, I asked him for a word to live by, and he called me resilient. It empowers me. When I don't want to be resilient, when I want to lay in the bed and just be sad and watch, binge watch my shows and different things like that, it reminds me, no, I can do this. I can do hard things. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I can do this. It does not mean, I want to make it clear, it doesn't mean that, I'm always on, or that I'm going to always just, jump out of bed ready to go. There are some hard days. The resilience comes with the attitude, because you live from your perspective. So I have a resilient mindset, a resilient perspective. I understand that life is going to life. It's not necessarily happening to me. It is something that just happened. And now I have to respond
Mm-hmm.
to whatever it is. And that has helped me. Having a resilient attitude has helped me not fall apart when things come my way that normally I would have, or in previous times I would have fell apart, and just been like, oh, just woe is me, pity party time. I'm just gonna lay on the couch and watch Twilight, all the Twilight movies. I'm just gonna watch Twilight and just Team Edward and just.
You done took it back.
Because honestly, okay, like for real, when I'm like really just. I'm done. One of the things I'll do, and this to me is a part of self-care, is understanding I have certain things that I do when I know that, okay, I am really, really done. Sometimes I'll check out. And one of the things I do, I watch Twilight. I love those little vampires. I do. I take a moment, you know what I'm saying? If I can, I take a moment, quiet down, watch a movie, something that makes me feel good, that's positive, and then I get back to it. Like, okay,
yeah,
I had my moment. So I feel like I went off on a tangent. Did I answer your
question? No, that was a perfect example. And I did want to piggyback on that also, so for example, she is a nurse mom, I always talk about transitioning moms from worn out to winning. And when I say winning, that does not mean every single day you're going to cry, woohoo, I'm a winner, I'm not failing in any area, and but or like life is rainbows, gumdrops, and all that, glitter and gold and all that. To me, winning is, am I winning as a woman of God? And a woman of God is not perfect. Life isn't going to be perfect for her. But what am I doing to walk in a way that is pleasing to him? Like you said, we're going to have some bad days, and we might have some pity parties. Some days, you need to. It's we have emotions. God made us with emotions.
Yeah. Right.
So sometimes we might need that good old cry. We might need a day to just decompress, just lay. Look at Elijah. He had to just lay down.
Yeah, right.
God made him lay down and rest.
And God took care of him too. Exactly. Elijah didn't take care of himself. God took care of him.
There you go. Exactly. He told him, like, I can't do this. Please take me. He was ready to die. Forget giving up on the day. He was giving up on life. And God had his back. Okay, rest. He made him rest. So some days we just need that. If you want to rest in bed all day long, it's okay. You want to cry all day long, it's okay. But being resilient, you're going to bounce back. And it's not bouncing back weeks later, months later. We got to be able to maybe have our moment or our day.
And then quickly get back on track.
Exactly. Yeah. Start taking those steps. And I'm not saying it got to be big steps. It could be very baby steps, small steps to get yourself up and get moving forward.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So I definitely agree with you. It doesn't mean I got the perfect life and nothing ever happens. And as soon as it happens, yes, you know what to do, but that doesn't mean you're always quick. Right. Like you said, having a healthy mindset will put you back on track. Sometimes you got a little, cried out, and then it's like, okay, time to get up.
And time. Right. And that's the important. That goes back to the superwoman piece where you talked about, again, I can't speak for other, cultures or anything like that, but in the Black culture, weakness. You can't show no sign of weakness, no emotions. Therapy is still a taboo word for us. Mental, all of those things really, it can be very difficult for us to do the things that we need to do to bounce back because of, again, what has been passed down to us generationally, and not showing weakness and things like that. So I want to speak to that and say that, if you take a day to cry, if you take a weekend, like, being transparent, this past weekend was one of those weekends for me. I didn't feel like peopling. I told my parents we're gonna come by and bring dinner, and I was like, guys, I just like really need a minute. And I had to be honest, and I felt bad because my mama made chili, and that's how.
And when she made door, like Uber
Right, which look, when she makes chili, I come running, and that's how they knew. I was like, "Oh yeah, it don't feel good today," because
Yeah.
she turned it down chili. Like I was just like, "I need a minute," and that's what I did. I stayed home. I read a couple books, probably watched a little bit of TV. Of course, I prayed. Did my devotional and everything like that. So I just want to make it clear that you're not being weak if you have to take a minute to feel your feelings. I personally, I think that it's, and this is going to sound harsh, and I've been guilty of it myself, so I'm not judging anybody, but I personally feel like it's more weak to squash your feelings and pretend that they're not there.
That's true.
And not deal with them and keep going. It's actually very cowardly, because if you're afraid to face those feelings, you're not going to heal. You're not going to grow. You're not going to move. You're going to always be stuck in that place. Something's going to always pull you back.
Yeah.
And so it's important to feel your feelings. Talk with God about how you feel. Journal. Be honest. Like my shirt says, it says, be real, not perfect. Like, just be honest, be real. Like, God already knows how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
He's big enough to handle all of your feelings, and help you process through those things so you can heal and move forward. So that's just my
and that's
spiel on
totally
that.
true. Because when and I sort of check myself at times. Like I said, we're not perfect, but sometimes you have
Right.
to check yourself because you're trying to push through those feelings, and like, I don't want to feel this way, so you try to just keep on
Squash
moving.
it.
Right,
Yeah.
like I said, squash it. But then something triggers you,
And
and
you right back in that
then all
place.
heck, it then broke loose.
And you're like, oh, I thought I had dealt with that. Oh no.
Right, you done lashed out at your family, especially like as moms, the people in your home, they're probably going to get it the
Poor
worst.
babies.
It could be a friend, it
The
could be
closest.
somebody, or it could be somebody could just ask you a simple question, nothing bad, nothing irritated, but you feel irritated. Like, I know I answered that question before,
Right.
or somebody
Right.
asked you something and you heard the wrong thing, and they're looking at you like, that's not even what I asked you. You just. It could be the littlest thing, and it ticks you off, and then that's when the release comes. Because then it's like, why did I respond that way? And then
because you weren't dealing with it before,
exactly.
now you're in a position where you have probably caused some damage, and possibly irreparable damage, because you didn't deal with the thing, the root. So yeah, that's all a part of having a resilient mindset.
Yes. And then I know you spoke a little bit about it, or a lot technically, about faith, your relationship with God. What are some other things that you do as far as, your spiritual health that helps you to be resilient?
Well, so I have, I do devotionals. I'm always praying. I tend to just pray about everything, and like I'm constantly talking to God. Like if I'm in the car, and whether the kids are in there or not, I'm talking to God about my day. Like, Lord, this, that, and the other. This is how I feel about this. Please give me your perspective on that. I'm constantly asking the Lord for His perspective on my life, what I'm, facing, and how to handle it. Because again, we live from our perspective. What you think is going to come out in the way you speak and in your actions. And so I'm constantly asking for God's perspective so that I can live and respond from that perspective. My circle of friends, I have a small circle of friends. They're all women of God. They're all prayer warriors that I know that I can go to and say, hey, this is how I'm feeling. I need you to pray. This past weekend was one of those weekends where I was just like, I don't even, like, I'm going to be honest, I don't even, not only do I not know, even feel like praying, I don't even know what to pray.
Yeah.
So this is how I'm feeling. Can you please pray on my behalf? And like, because I just need a minute. And they stopped and prayed, and as I would do for them if that were the case. So it's my circle, it's who I'm surrounding myself with, what I consume. And when I say consume, I mean mentally, emotionally, spiritually, what I'm listening to, reading, different things like that. So I'm just really mindful of what I'm ingesting, if that makes sense. So that helps a great deal with my faith. So definitely reading the word, listening to some of my favorite podcasts or teachers and stuff like that. So I'm just like inundating myself with the word.
Yes. So, Miss Ebony, You have a book coming
I
out soon. I'm
do.
waiting
I
to get
do.
my copy.
I
Wake
know.
up, eat, and roar.
Yes.
Tell our moms out here a little bit more about that.
Yes. So Wake Up, Eat, Roar is about us waking up and recognizing the lies that we have believed, and then consuming God's truth, what God says about us, and then taking that and living out our lives out loud. So that's where the roar piece comes in. This book was born from hard-won lessons of resilience and walking with God, and it I believe that it will help anybody who is still living in the past, like in the prison in their mind, they're living in the past or bound by past mistakes and things that they have gone through. I believe that this book will help them come out of that. So I'm really excited about it. Thank you for
Excited.
asking. Yes.
So, do you have a date yet on when that might be
So
ready?
yes, okay. So I'm glad you asked. It is coming out. It'll be out by April the 1st. It was supposed to come out March 21st, but we had some editing logistics going on. So it'll be out in April. Everybody that has pre-ordered, they get a special gift from me. I believe that you did pre-order as well.
Sure
They're getting
do.
a special, yes, a special gift from me. So it is available for pre-order right now. Everybody that pre-orders does get a special gift directly from me, and they get a signed copy. It's coming, directly from me because I'm not balling out yet. I don't have all the assistance and everything just yet, but we're getting there. So yeah, so thanks for asking. It is available for pre-order. You can go to ebonypollard.com and pre-order. And I also have my it's not on social media yet, but I have my journal line. I relaunched it, and that's on my website as well. So
All
you go to my
right.
website and you can hit the shop tab or the book tab, and that'll get you to the book or the journals or both.
All right. And tell us a little bit more about the journals.
Yeah, so journaling is, I'm a huge advocate for journaling. Of course, if I had have been thinking, I would have had my one journal with me, but it's somewhere in the this clutter that I'm looking at. But I'm a huge advocate for journaling. I believe that, when you journal and you go back and read some of the things that you've written, you can see how far you've gotten or how much, further you need to go. It's very therapeutic in, getting things out. So I just started designing journals, just based off of just my own, what I would like to see and different things like that. So I walked away from it for a little bit, and then I just was like, nope, I'm going to pick it back up. So yeah,
All
that
right.
is, I have I think about 10 at the top of my head right now to
All
choose
right.
from, but we'll be adding more as we go.
All
Yeah.
right. So I'll put the your website in the show notes for our viewers. So make sure
Yes,
you check out
please.
her journals and pre-order that book.
Yes,
If
please.
you it's already April, check to see if it's already out. Get yourself a Mother's Day gift. Get some
Yes.
other moms or women in your life some Mother Day gifts or birthday gifts, whatever.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes,
Absolutely. So I'm so excited. I'm so excited. And it's a powerful book, and I believe it's going to help anybody that, reads it. Yeah.
yes, I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
All right, Ebony. So as we wind down, I want you to leave our moms out there with some tips on how to cultivate a resilient mindset and lifestyle.
Yeah, so honestly, the best way to cultivate a resilient mindset and lifestyle is to really make sure that your relationship with God is intact. Like you are, in his face every day, reading his word every day, and asking for his perspective on your life and living from God's perspective of what he says about you versus what you think. Because our human mind, we're going to have the negative thoughts. We're going to, not always be on every day. But when we are living and acknowledging God's truth about us, it helps us to be resilient. I don't have to lay down and take these things. Like when I'm feeling bad, I don't have to stay here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to stay here. I can call on God. He is there. He comes close to the brokenhearted. That's what his word says, so it's I my advice is to just, stick to the promises of God, walk those promises out in your life, and just be real with him. be real with him and allow him to work on you and live from live from his perspective and what he says about you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I feel like I'm tongue tied today.
No, you did just fine. So I love that. I feel like moral, not moral of the story, but bottom line, ladies, if you don't remember anything else, remember to rely on God. You know, that's why we talk about, you know, faith here on She's a Nurse Mom podcast. Everything that we are trying to do, we are not to rely on ourselves. You know, we talk about self-care, but we are taking care of ourselves so we can, you know, fulfill the purpose that He has for us.
Absolutely.
And with, you know, anything that we do in life, we're not to keep looking at ourselves, you know, for healing. Not go to ourselves. He has all of the answers that we need. It's in His Word. It's in that quiet time with Him. You know, He will reveal what He wants for us. You know, it doesn't have to be the audible voice of God. He will lead you and guide you on, you know, what to do to heal. And even if you're not in a place where you need healing, but just thriving in general, thriving in motherhood. And in life, all those different areas that we have, He will lead and guide us. So just go to Him and He will help you to be resilient.
Absolutely.
Yes. So ladies, let's go ahead and close out in prayer. So Father God, I thank You for Ebony and our conversation today. I thank You for all of the mamas who are listening to us today. I pray that You will keep them through the week. I pray that You will heal them in any areas that they are struggling with, any areas that they are dealing with, whether it's mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially, any areas that they may be struggling with in motherhood or in any area of their life. I pray that You will lead them and guide them on how to be resilient. I pray that they will look to You, lean on You, cast their burdens upon You for their healing. I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
All right, mamas. I want to thank you again, Ebony, for pouring into our mamas, pouring into me today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. And mamas, you all have a blessed week. And same to you, Ebony.
Bye, ladies.
Bye-bye. Thank you for tuning in to the She is a Nurse Mom podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a 5-star review, and share with a mommy friend who needs to hear this message. Connect with me on social media at She is a Nourished Mom, and let me know your ahas and takeaways from this week's episode. Until next time, keep nourishing yourself, mama.